The stash rules the day here on the Pride of Detroit POD-cast. Jeremy is now famous. The stash is here. He has his own drop. I don't think we're going to ever stop this, folks. The stash is here to stay, and I don't think we can ever kill it. Welcome to the Pride of Detroit POD-cast. PrideofDetroit.com. Pride of Detroit on Twitter. Let's get fired up. Let's get fired up. Woo, we're in the offseason. We're in the offseason, baby. I love it. I love it. I love all the speculation. I love all of the non-football we talk about, and I just hate myself every day. I hate myself every day because there's no football. There's no football anywhere. And I feel like as I get older, I get more and more manic about football going away. It used to be, it's the off season. It's fine. It's whatever. We deal with this every year. Now I'm starved. One weekend without football, Jeremy, and I, Chris Perfett, the adequate host at Chris Perfett, PERFETT, is suddenly like, I'm not ready to jump into NBA. I'm not ready to do anything. It's Lions, 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 Lions.
It's weird. Of all people on this panel, I thought you would be the most hooked into the FCF, fan-controlled football, right here on Twitch.
Absolutely not.
No, it's bad. It's bad. I watched 5 minutes of it, and there's like 90 seconds in between plays.
I should never be reminded of the existence of Johnny Manziel, and yet that was apparently the only thing people talked about from this. So I've had my entire weekend people bringing up Johnny Manziel playing football. That's not something I want to be reminded of, Jeremy.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull?
Yeah.
I'll just play the Deuce Staley clip again if that'll cleanse your palate.
It's a long season. Yeah. Why not play it again?
All right, here we go.
Play it again, Sam.
Mustache. I mean, he got a little cool mustache. There he is. Jeremy, man, you don't have no questions?
There you go.
We like it.
Enjoy.
I like it. Hey, we got to play the hits here, which brings us to our third man, Ryan Matthews. At Ryan_POD. Ryan, we've got some complaints about your intro music, however, which I'll get to in a second. But
complaints? For what?
Yeah,
For why?
People don't like Limp Bizkit.
You're not supposed to like Limp Bizkit.
That is a salient point.
I'm doing well. I got my first vaccine shot today.
Hey.
Wonderful. Oh
Yeah.
man, I wish I could get that and stop feeling like I'm caged.
Yeah, it's
I'm a rat in a cage.
That to me, that's like 1B to your bigger news, which is that you went ice skating again.
I did. It kind of resembled ice skating.
So for those who don't know the story, Ryan was in a car crash and he has been like half dead for months. So him going ice skating is phenomenal. We're gonna get to Lions soon, I promise.
Thank you.
Real quick
Thank you.
though.
It's the offseason. We can talk about some silly stuff at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I would hope so. And I hope when tank our ratings, which Jeremy, guess what? We told people we were at 399 reviews. Some said that we were already at 400, depending on where you lived. I don't know how that's all calculated because I am a big dum-dum. But we had a flood coming in. We had people, I know people were saying, hey, I'm over in Ireland or I'm over in the UK. I don't know if you guys will see my reviews or not. I don't know if we do or not. Apple's weird like that. But we asked for your ratings on Apple Podcast, where we are the most reviewed Detroit Lions podcast. Not the best reviewed, mind you, but the most reviewed. And guess what? You guys came in, and within the span of the week, we got 31 new reviews.
Wow. That is insane. Now, I mean...
And most of them were 5 stars, unlike every other time we've tried to do this.
We might have to add to our tagline that we're the most reviewed Lions podcast by a long shot now.
430 reviews. Yeah, not even close, folks. You guys kill it. And in honor of that, we are going to bring back the business of reading one of these reviews from Terry from Downriver, who I think sums up our podcast perfectly. Comedy and Errors covering the ultimate comedy of errors team. A dude who desperately just wants to be adequate teams up with one guy still using Kid Rock music in 2021 and another fella sporting the worst mustache you've seen since a windowless white van asked your childhood self if you fancied candy. Then again, I listen to every episode, so what does that say about me? Thank you, Terry.
Beautiful.
5 stars.
Beautiful.
Just a glutton for punishment himself. I want to say that I really do appreciate all the reviews. With that being said, is that like the NFC like playoff banner that the Lions had for a while?
We're not hanging that.
I'm going to get a graphic that just says the most reviewed Lions podcast and put it on our live Twitch page. And
you should put it, you've got a green screen now, so you should put that in the background, hanging down low
like
at Ford Field. Yeah.
Just have the rafters behind you.
I was thinking more just like a paint clip art, just like a basic clip art like badge.
I think I am going to get my own green screen soon, so I'll have to do mine from the rafters, and I'll put that in. I'll sneak that into the Photoshop. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, let's get down to business, actual business here, as we sit here and worry about the draft. It is now fully the offseason. We have had the Super Bowl parade. We have had Tom Brady nearly throw the Lombardi Trophy into the ocean. We have had the Lombardi Trophy's creator's daughter get mad at Tom Brady for almost throwing the Lombardi Trophy into the ocean. Tom Brady, by the way, is cool for the first time in his life. And now that's all faded. And guess what? It's time to talk about the draft, baby. It's time to talk about the draft. It's time to talk about free agency. It's time to talk about business acquisitions. It's your favorite form of Lions football. And we start out today with a question. And I think this question, Jeremy, Ryan, is central to what the Lions do moving forward. It's the one question they have to ask themselves before we can start analyzing anything else as fans or forming even opinions as fans. And that is, do you believe the Lions should, would, or can take a quarterback, a top-tier quarterback, in the first round of the draft in this year of 2021?
This is going to be a cop-out answer, but the answer is it depends. Because I don't think it should be off the board. I don't think it's necessary. Getting Jared Goff, as I think we've mentioned in previous podcasts, getting Jared Goff in that trade gives them options. Where if their guy isn't there, if one of their top 4 or 5 guys in this draft, if there isn't a consensus like this is our guy in the front office, then they can just pass on it. That being said, I don't think you can also just say like, no, you got Jared Goff for 2 years, don't do it. Because if you have a shot at a franchise quarterback, you have a top 10 pick. If you have a shot at what you believe to be maybe your franchise quarterback going forward for decades, then you go and get him, period.
We're having the intermittent appearance by Zazu with the squeaky toy. So Ryan, take over from Jeremy here. What do you think? How do you respond to that, or what's your own baseline take?
Yeah, I think that what the Lions did this offseason is they effectively moved on from Stafford, and I think they did it in the right way. They got a quarterback that could bridge the gap, whether or not, that was Jared Goff or that could have been Teddy Bridgewater. I think that was the right move for this team to make, because I'm going to say this. I think that the team is going to be more competitive next year than a lot of people, I think, are assuming it to be. And I'm not saying that they're going to be world beaters. I'm not saying that they're not going to even be knocking on, that they aren't going to be maybe even basement dwellers at the bottom of the NFC North with the Chicago Bears. But I'm just thinking that the Lions are going to be a little bit more competitive than some people are thinking that they'll be. I think a lot of people are thinking that they'll be full rebuild, 2-15 or 3-14. That's how the numbers work now, right? I think that they'll be a little bit better than that. And maybe even if it's not necessarily reflected in the wins, it'll be reflected in the point differential. So I think I think the Lions would be better to capitalize on. There's a lot of quarterback names in this draft, right? I mean, there's Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1, but then all of a sudden you have this like array of different palettes to taste out. It's like Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask. Maybe all those guys aren't first round picks. I think 3 of them are at least. When you talk about Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson, I don't know how many quarterbacks are going to go in the top 10. It'll be interesting to see where those quarterbacks get picked. And if there's still maybe a couple of those quarterbacks left at 7, maybe the Lions will finally be in the position that they wish they were in a season ago, when they were kind of like locked into the number 3 pick and they had to take Jeff Okudah, when really they wanted, hopefully a team to trade up for a Justin Herbert or trade up for a Tua Tagovailoa. Maybe that could happen at 7 this year.
So I think for me, reacting to what you're saying, just real quick before I get into my point, reacting to what you're saying, I think more teams will be starved at the top of the draft this year. And I think we can actually thank the Lions and the Rams and Stafford for all of that, because I feel like they set a market with Stafford that has now made some of these teams, like the Eagles are asking for an outrageous price for Carson Wentz right now. Like they're I think, and even if the Texans want to move Deshaun Watson, they clearly think they'll be able to convince him to come back, and Deshaun won't sit out a season or something. But clearly some teams, I think, have tapped out from the idea of paying in free agency or in a trade for a quarterback. And yet there are some teams who are right there, who are like the Rams, ready to spend to do what is necessary. Like the Colts are missing nothing but the quarterback. The 49ers are right there. They need a quarterback. And I've seen, apparently the Colts don't want to give up the asking price for a lot of these free agent quarterbacks. And I haven't heard anything much from the 49ers about what they want to do. Could that happen during the draft? I don't know. But I also believe that, for me, I don't think the Lions are going to take a quarterback. And I'm saying that not as my opinion, but as what I think I believe I know. Because I think we got the clearest sign that the Lions are not going to take a quarterback this year. Because I saw that Carolina trade. The Carolina trade we all heard about, that is my proof that the Lions will not take a quarterback this year. Because if they want to take a quarterback this year, you would have taken Carolina's deal. You would have had 7 and 8. You would have been able to package all that together and move up. Like that's an obscene haul to put 2 back-to-back picks in the top 10 together to move up, probably maybe with something later on too. I don't know. But you took the Rams deal, and the Rams deal guarantees you picks late in later years, which we've agreed means you have that flexibility. And quite honestly, as much as there are some interesting quarterback names, I think a lot of them will chill the longer we get into this draft season. Trevor Lawrence, who has a face that looks like a head from Easter Island, is the only good quarterback in this draft. I don't trust any of these other guys. I don't think any of them are transformational. You set your franchise around these guys. Some guys will take them because they're desperate, but I don't. Maybe Zach Wilson turns out to be that guy, but I don't put a lot of faith in Trey Lance. I don't put a lot of faith in Justin Fields. And I certainly don't put a lot of faith in any of these other names out there, except maybe as like 2nd or 3rd round guys that you just take a flyer on.
I'm not suggesting that you're falling victim to this, Chris, because I think for the most part, I'm in a very similar boat as you are. Like, I don't think that there's much to the quarterbacks, or there's at least a precipitous drop off after Trevor Lawrence. But weren't we kind of doing this last year too, with like, well, Joe Burrow's the number 1 guy, and then, well, I don't know, Justin Herbert, who really knows if you can trust him? Tua Tagovailoa has injury concerns. It's almost like every draft season there's one guy, and then everybody else has question marks. And I think that the quarterbacks in this draft are there. I totally wholeheartedly agree with your interpretation of the Rams trade versus the Panthers trade, because specifically just looking at the draft board, the team that has a lot of power right now, I think, are the Miami Dolphins at number 3. And you know, who knows what the Jets are going to be able to do, because they're kind of stuck in this weird spot with like Sam Darnold, and I mean, they can take the next best quarterback available in the draft at number 2, but you know, defensive minded head coach, do they have enough pieces in place in order for them to you know, put the quarterback in place and start that, you know, rookie contract? So, you know, if the Lions really wanted a quarterback, it would have been really easy for them to get 7 and 8. And I know this would be totally overpaying, but taking 7 and 8 and packaging it up to move up to like 3, for example, with the Dolphins, who would take that deal in a heartbeat. And, you know, the Dolphins probably throw in some other, you know, draft compensation on the back end. But I'm totally lock and step with you, Chris, in your interpretation of those 2 trades.
I want to let Jeremy in here, but real quick before he does, I will say you are right about last year. However, I was probably higher on Herbert than other people, and I was down on Tua. And I don't know much on Tua's future, but I mean, yeah, I mean, we do this weird thing every year, right? It's like we're strong on a lot of guys, then we cool, then draft time comes around and everyone loses their head and drafts guys anyways. And some, you know, some are fine, some are not. Just how the season goes, I guess. Maybe I am falling victim to it. Jeremy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to say is that you keep saying we might cool on these guys, but what event is going to make us cool on these guys? There's nothing. There's no combine that'd be like, oh, well, his numbers aren't what they thought they were. We're just gonna have pro days, and we all know what pro day numbers are. They're garbage. They're worthless. So I don't know. I mean, you're starting to see some of the first, you know, big mock drafts come out there, and you're seeing quarterbacks roll off the board right off the bat, because you got the Jaguars, you got the Jets, you got the Dolphins, you've got the Falcons. I mean, all these teams, Eagles are there in the top 10. Like, all these teams are quarterback needy. Every single one of them, except maybe the Dolphins. And like you said, who knows what's going on with Tua over there. And so a lot of them have, you know, potentially 4 quarterbacks going in 4 picks, 3 quarterbacks going in 4 picks. And so, I mean, I think the Lions are probably in a good spot. Maybe not to trade down, but just to kind of have a talented guy fall to him at 7. But I do want to kind of go back to the option of them potentially drafting a guy, because I don't want to count it out completely. Like, I know Jared Goff is almost certainly locked in to being the starter in 2020. In fact, Anthony Lynn said basically if this team drafts a rookie quarterback, he'd love to be able to sit him for a year. He said that.
Which is smart. That's beyond. I've been on record saying this constantly. Like, that was the Patrick Mahomes value proposition. You do that. It's smart.
Yeah.
So many rookie quarterbacks get thrown in. Yeah.
Favre,
so many rookie quarterbacks. Yeah. You throw a rookie quarterback into the fire to save your own job. And usually that's what happens, because you're coming off a bad season where you had a high round draft pick. Jeremy, you're absolutely right. You should always. Anthony Lynn's right. If you get the chance to rest a rookie quarterback, to make him hold a clipboard, have him take a red shirt season, do it.
And I mean, you look at some of the quarterbacks too. Like, a lot of these guys they have like one good season in college, or they don't have a lot of tape out there. Trey Lance is a perfect guy where it's like, if you want to sit him for 1, maybe even 2 seasons, that would kind of make sense, right? Like, you might view it as a waste of a pick, but this is a long-term project. And so Trey Lance, I think, is probably more of a long-term project as well. I would even argue that you could say the same for Zach Wilson. I mean, he only had 1 really good season at BYU. The one before that was nothing. He wasn't on the radar. And we talk about like how there's no one on the radar for the 2022 draft. He was that guy that like no one was talking about the year before, and suddenly he has a fantastic year. And look, I started jumping in to the Zach Wilson tape, and it's phenomenal. It's like, he was very, very fun this year. And I mean, if somehow the Lions, I mean, I don't think he's falling to 7, but we can talk a little bit. We're going to talk about next segment, the possibility of trading up. And the idea of trading up for someone like Zach Wilson is kind of intriguing. I know it's not something that it's something that's really in my repertoire. I don't really like the idea of trading up, especially when you're completely rebuilding. But I think quarterback is a special case where if you get a guy that you're very confident of, and Anthony Lynn likes the guy, and Mark Brunell likes the guy, you have a coaching staff that's fully behind this guy, and you know he's going to be the dude, well, then maybe that's a good way to start off the new regime here.
Yeah, and, you know, while I look at the top of that draft order, Jeremy, that you mentioned, you know, you have Jaguars who are going to take Trevor Lawrence. You have the Jets who, they might be quarterback needy. I think
they take Zach Wilson.
And that might be so. I think that there are some teams that while they might appear on the surface to be quarterback needy, they might just be willing to kind of roll with things. Like the Falcons might be just cool with riding out Matt Ryan for another season, or the Eagles have Jalen Hurts. I mean, let's just go with Jalen Hurts. There's so many rumors about like the Dolphins, like being at 3. It's like, well, you can take another quarterback and move on from Tua. It's like, how much do you plummet Tua's value if you draft another quarterback? I think like that would really take a shot at his, let alone the fact that he was benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick and, game time decisions.
But that's literally the same problem the Eagles are having right now, trying to trade Carson Wentz. Like, hey man, you benched him at the end of the year. You killed his value. Same story with Tua.
But I think to me, the thing that's different about last year is that who are the big major talents outside of quarterback that like must have? Like, last year we had Chase Young, and obviously the Lions went Jeff Okudah, like big defensive talents. There's really not those guys to compete. There's Sewell. There's a couple offensive tackles, which, I mean, there are a lot of offensive tackle needy teams. So I can see a couple of those guys going. But I just think in terms of value, in terms of, there's not a big defensive end. There's not a big cornerback prospect that'll probably go top 10. It's just like wide receivers and offensive tackles that really compete with these quarterbacks. And I'd rather have a quarterback. If there's even a question, I mean, like the Falcons, they have a new general manager, new coaching staff. I have to think they want to go quarterback, no?
Yeah, I think for me, at least the one reason I would say also not to take a quarterback is there's a lot. We're going to talk about this next segment. There's a lot of positions of need for the Lions right now.
Right.
Almost every position on defense, and you probably need wide receivers. Maybe you might want to open yourself up to an offensive lineman as well. Maybe if you want to try to really flesh out what's there, or maybe you're worried at some point you're going to lose Taylor Decker. But I think there's enough there. The Lions, they're not locked into a quarterback, but I do agree with you that the bench is pretty light outside of wide receiver at the top of this draft. The one last note I will say is we've been talking a lot about guys who've only played like a little bit of time at quarterback. I hate to say it too, but I feel like that trend, at least in college, that's going to continue.
Sure.
We've seen for the last few years, there are very few guys who start more than 1, maybe 2 seasons now before coming into the NFL, like Daniel Jones or even Joe Burrow, who had to go through a bunch of, transfer portal stuff. The transfer portal probably plays a part in it. A lot more quarterbacks transfer, or they're sitting and riding the pine for a while. Coaches just aren't letting quarterbacks get starts until they become upperclassmen. And then by then you get one good season together junior, and you've got your agent telling you, look, man, like, you shouldn't waste your body in college. Like, go and take that draft right away. It's going to be harder and harder to scout quarterbacks. And I think that's a lot of the reason this year for a lot of the uncertainty for everyone except Trevor Lawrence. Because as you say, Zach Wilson, I don't remember him playing that much before this year. Trey Lance played 1 game for North Dakota State in 2020. 1 game. And this entire season's already fakakta because of how COVID affected the college football schedules and everything. None of these guys, I think, played 12 games for the year. It makes it rough. And as you say, Jeremy, no combine, just pro days. For a position like that, which requires so much analysis, it's a huge risk this year, I feel.
No question.
Yeah. I think the thing about the Lions moving forward, and just to kind of, circle this back to where we started, Chris, you mentioned how the trade that the Lions made with the Rams offered them flexibility moving forward. Who knows if the Lions are even ever going to use those draft picks that they got from the Rams on actual draft selections. That might be ammo for, a trade up maybe next year, or maybe even a trade up the following year, because there's just too many things that connect Goff to Detroit to think that he's just some kind of quick Band-Aid. I think that the Lions really like him. I think that Brad Holmes really likes him. I think that he can be enough for what Dan Campbell wants out of a quarterback, and maybe Anthony Lynn wants out of a quarterback in terms of putting together an offense. The cool thing, and Jeremy alluded to this, the cool thing about sitting at 7 with, potentially some teams who want to move up and get those quarterbacks. And if you have maybe like 4 quarterbacks go in the top, in the top 6, well, now all of a sudden, like, maybe Jamar Chase is there, and he's the number 1 wide receiver in the draft. And I mean, he's arguably, he could have arguably been the number 1 wide receiver in last year's draft. I mean, that's how good he is. So for a team that's wide receiver needy, you know, if there was a position, I mean, I guess this is a topic of discussion for another time, but if there's a position of need that the Lions need outside of like defense, like that being the position, I think that you could make a really strong case that I would be totally okay with a wide receiver in round 1, because the Lions just have a complete dearth of talent there, literally bodies. Well,
that's a great point. Let's put a pin in that. And you say it's a subject for another day. Let's say it's a subject for another segment, because when we come back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast, we're going to jump into more options for the rest of the first round. And now that we've all given our opinions on what the Lions should do as far as quarterbacks, it comes to our annual game: trade up or trade down. And I think I know which way Jeremy's going, because it's the only way he seems to know. He seems skeptical. He might. Maybe. Have we converted Jeremy? Has he drunk the Kool-Aid finally?
Come back and find out next on the podcast. That's going to be the
outro. Oh, that's good. I hope nobody can hear the leaf blower that's been going on for hours behind me. I hope that's not coming through the podcast. You can't hear it? Okay, good, because wow.
All right, on break, let me catch up here. We had 10 gifted subs from our good friend CJ Craig, which I very, very much appreciate. As always, CJ Craig, one of the bigger supporters of the podcast. And then we had Cordy Aaron, our good friend Cordy Aaron, one of the longest subscribers to the PODcast, 16 months. And he says, whoa, sweet 16.
And speaking of longtime subscribers, Detroit just subscribing for his 18th month.
18 months, which again, we've only been streaming for just over 2 years. So that's pretty close to as long as you could have subscribed to us, because we obviously weren't partnered right away or affiliate right away. But that moves the Save the Stash to 12 out of 100. Nick the Greek with 100 bits says, I heard TJ Hawkinson stormed the Capitol. Wow. No, that's fake news. Probably should have read that one up here before I read it out loud.
Yeah, you're getting some Ron Burgundy vibes here. It's the mustache is turning you into Ron Burgundy, that you're just going to read anything when people give you bits.
Anything in the chat.
Yeah.
Zazu, come here. You've been requested. You've been summoned.
So is Goose, but I don't think Goose is there.
He is not.
Come here.
Yep. And as people have noticed, Big Fat Ruby is rolling around somewhere here. He was eating. There's been a lot of people here who have been working on the trees near my apartment all day, and Ruby is kind of spent most of it scared. Yeah, I think I do owe come here, Ruby. Here, buddy. Come on. Hey. See if I can. It's Pets of Detroit time. Here, buddy. Good boy.
Zazu.
Where did I put his treats?
Zazu. He's been very needy since the podcast started, as you heard from the squeaky toys.
Here they are. Here, buddy.
Squeaky toys. I forgot to put those up, and now the floor is a mess.
This is the secret sauce. Here, buddy.
No dogs on the pitch. He's a streaker.
Ruby. Come on, you fatso. You're just sitting there. He knows. Here, buddy.
We need Kevin Harlan announcing you running on the field.
Take off the bra and be a man. Every year, man, we get one good one out of Kevin Harlan.
Yep. For it to happen on the Super Bowl is just magical.
Did you hear that guy actually put a bet on himself to streak on the field?
Yep, and they didn't. They didn't honor it.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. You can't. That's why you don't. You can't do that. It's why. Well, I heard because I work with some Vegas guys, and they all said that's why Vegas doesn't have prop bets like that. It's only kind of offshore books because of kind of shit like that. Or like the whole thing about the length of the anthem, which got leaked before the Super Bowl itself.
I heard that too. Any confirmation, Ryan, that it was you on the field?
I wish I was that confident in not only my ability to run, but also my body.
Don't say it like that.
I had to say it like that. How else would you want me to say
it? Literally any other way.
Squads with bods.
Ruby time.
I miss our Fortnite days.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Zeus was putting me up on a game called Valheim, and I just downloaded that. And I think that might be like a big thing coming up.
Toast Boys 13, thank you for the follow. We're going to get right back into Lions talk in a second. If you have any questions for us, chat, if this is your first time watching the PODcast live, we usually take breaks. We take requests using channel points on Twitch. A new one that was recently added is you can change my background for the remainder of the podcast, as long as it's appropriate and I can find a picture of it. We answer your questions about the Lions. We talk about all the alerts. We don't recognize the alerts when we're live because we're recording for our audio podcast, and they don't really care about alerts and subscriptions and things like that. So anytime you do any sort of alerts, we'll address them here like that. Gift or get you fit. Just gifted a sub to RL Raiden. Appreciate that, bud. That moves our Save the Stash campaign to 13 and start the hype train, which is currently at 69%.
Nice. Yeah, I see some other people are saying that they've heard of Valheim, and it's basically like Minecraft with Vikings. So definitely going to play it. I'll definitely stream it sometime too. All right, so we went like I know we were talking about
like 25 minutes.
Yeah, we were talking before the stream. We were trying to figure out our C block topic. So either we can go short on this, or we can make it a 2-part podcast if you want.
Whatever. Nick the Greek trying to get it up to 420%. Almost there. Oh, we did get past the 100% mark, thanks to both Nick and Uncle Indigo, who gave out 2 more gifted subs. He's gifted 93 to the channel so far, by the way, because Indigo's a freaking legend. Also streams, by the way. Let me do a little shout out. Uncle Indigo plays a lot of Valorant, which is a very gamer game, which is why I'm horrible at it.
Yeah, some of my friends play that, and they play Rainbow Six Siege, and they kind of got me to what the fuck?
Okay, Toast Boys? Good to know. Anyways, Nick the Greek, 100 bits, says Jeremy's giving off strong Dan Campbell energy. Thank you.
Is that a compliment?
I'm not sure. I could do something to give it off even more. Whoops, don't look at that. What happened? Oh, I don't have it. Oh well, never mind. Jeremy runs through the wall and bite the head of a squirrel and then make very good coaching hires. I'll do my best. All-time favorite Lion to have children with the challenge cast member. Wait, what?
I okay.
I don't what?
I want to get this kind of as an off-stream topic, just me still being in sports mode, sports. But have you guys felt about this NFL offseason so far, just as neutral NFL fans? Because like someone pointed out, this kind of feels like an NBA offseason, right? Like there's just wheeling and dealing all over the place.
But nothing's actually happened yet. It's only the Stafford deal.
That's how the NBA goes too. Like even Russell Wilson. Well, I mean, there's also the fact that unlike the NBA, like you can't do anything until March because of the calendar, because of the league calendar anyway.
Right.
But like Russell Wilson is now like goes on Dan Patrick, and suddenly everyone's wondering about his future with okay, we need to ban that.
Chat, what's going on with you tonight, chat? We get one mustache comment from a coach, and everyone just loses their freaking mind.
Cabin fever up in here, man. But no, like, did you see the whole thing with Russell Wilson? Like the Seahawks might, like, I keep seeing people like
he's not going anywhere.
But I mean, like, I like this Quasilo. How likely is each to get moved? Wentz, Carr, and Russell Wilson. So you're putting Wilson at a 0% for you, Jeremy.
95-10-0. Wentz is getting moved. Carr's
you don't think you don't think Carr will be moved?
No. It's all talk at this point, man. Like I feel like I've seen people say the Raiders have no interest in trading Derek Carr. The Seahawks definitely don't have any. Like that's not happening. That was bullshit from the get-go. That was just Russell Wilson upset that the offensive line sucks. That doesn't mean he wants out.
Yeah. Although I was running a radio show on Friday night with a former Bears offensive lineman. I forgot his name. He's from Hawaii. Olin Kreutz. Mm-hmm. And he had a great funny comment asked about that. He said after that Russell Wilson interview on Dan Patrick, I'm sure his phone lit up and caller ID said Darren Wilson, and Wilson wanted him to clarify those comments he made about the offensive line not protecting him. He's like, hey, why don't you talk a little more about that? Here,
the dirty little secret with all of Russell Wilson's sacks is that he's responsible for like 60% of them.
Absolutely. No, he holds onto the ball way too much.
It's true. True facts.
Yeah. And I mean, like, again, like that comment is snarky, but at the same time, it does show you like you should always invest in your offensive line. And that's why I feel like the Lions are in a good position when you've got 3 solid linemen and Jonah Jackson, Trey, Taylor Decker, and Frank Ragnow.
True. Someone asked, I missed it because chat's moving now. What are the chances that Kerryon Johnson is the number 2 back behind DeAndre Swift? Either of you got opinions on that?
Well, I know Deuce Staley said that you have to be able to block in order to be a running back in this offense. True. So that's a +1 in Kerryon's count. But I don't know. I really don't know.
I think we're going to stand pat with the 3 we have. I think I haven't written his free agency profile yet, but I think if Adrian Peterson wants to play another year, Lions should let him come back.
That would be
less about what he could do on the field, more about, and again, I still need to write this, but consider this. Most of these guys grew up watching AD playing. Like, you want to talk about this team needs some veteran leadership to go through a rebuild? I don't think you can ask for better. Wow.
And also, I mean, if you want to think about it this way, if Peterson wants to play, it's not such a bad thing. Like, yes, ideally we want Swift on the field because Swift is the best running back that Lions have. But like, it's not such a bad thing if Adrian Peterson takes some wear and tear off of Swift's career.
Almost simultaneously, both YouTube chat and Twitch chat said Adrian Peterson wants to go to Tampa Bay, which I could see that. He wants to get a ring. Absolutely, I could see that. And then, I would like Todd Gurley. I like the idea that the 3rd back, you get some veteran presence in there.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting options. I put it on my, 5 free agent running backs that have ties to the Lions. There's Gurley. There's Latavius Murray that probably is going to get cut from the Saints in their quest to get under the cap. Mark Ingram, another dude with Saints connections. Malcolm Brown, a guy who's kind of been in the backup position there in Los Angeles for a while. And then my last one, actually there's 2 more. Jordan Howard, and I'm not entirely sure if he's a free agent or not. It's not entirely clear. I believe he is, but he doesn't show up on any of the Eagles free agent list for some reason. But, he has got connections to Deuce Staley. And then Dwayne Washington, it would be kind of a fun one. Probably wouldn't be your number 2. He would be either 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But, people kind of liked Dwayne Washington when he was here, right? Except for that one goal line run.
I feel like if you're bringing in a veteran free agent running back, I feel like you want to switch over from Kerryon Johnson and maybe draft one kind of later on. But I don't know. You probably carry 4 backs or see what you can do in training camp or whatever.
Just don't draft one in the top 2 days. That's it.
Yeah. It's 3rd or later.
In the top 2 days.
Days, yep. Not just top 2 rounds.
Not just rounds, days.
Yeah. I think Reno pissed Agnew off not to make him not want to come back. No, let's not overestimate. Reno has powers to piss off people, but not that badly.
But let's all agree that if he doesn't re-sign here, we're all going to just blame Reno.
Oh, it's 100% Reno's fault.
Okay, cool. Okay. Nick the Greek with another 100 bits. I don't. I'm not
That's
gonna
illegal.
read that. You know, we're just gonna.
That is illegal. That is for what John looks like. I want to say that's illegal.
That probably is.
Second segment, maybe.
Yeah, let's jump into it. I gave you guys way too much time in the break.
Yeah. Twitch chat is getting angsty.
A mix of angsty and horny. It's very strange.
Okay.
I guess that's not all that strange for other Twitch chats. That's very common for other Twitch chats.
I'm gonna say like this is normal angsty shut-in stuff. Everyone's kind of becoming the Joker. Of that, Ryan. Snyder cut.
I'm not interested in hurting myself.
Says the Detroit Lions fan.
We live in a society. Jared Leto getting to say we live in a society. All right. Welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Almost wanted to have Jeremy bring us back in since he took us to break there, but
and we're back.
We're back with the oldies 93.9.
WOMC. Sorry,
Cincinnati. All right,
it's the offseason. It's gonna get weird.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait till we get to the list casts. So we spent the last 20 minutes discussing if the Lions should what they should do about quarterback in the draft, and we have some mixed results. I think I'm firmly in the camp of, yeah, there's probably better options, and I think they've shown our hand that we don't. You guys are more open to the possibility of them taking it, but I think we all agree, like outside of quarterback, the rest of this draft is kind of a little open as far as what you can get.
Yeah, I mean, no question. I mean, we kind of teased it at the top. Like, it's why I think quarterbacks are going to go highly in this draft is because there isn't a lot of consensus. There's not really a pure defensive talent that, I mean, Micah Parsons is probably the closest you can get in this draft to a guy that everyone's like, yeah, he's probably the best physical talent there, but he also comes with a bunch of other question marks. And, you know, one of them is off-field stuff. Another one is just how much is an off-ball linebacker worth to you? Is he worth a top 10 pick? We've seen the Lions go through a couple of highly drafted linebackers. Linebacker is certainly a need, and Micah Parsons would certainly be the best linebacker on the team immediately. And I'm probably also including Jamie Collins in that. But there are other issues there. So, yeah, I mean, if the Lions stand pat at 7, I think most of the quarterbacks are off the board, and it suddenly isn't a conversation about that. And then it's just, do you want to get a wide receiver? Do you want to get a top defensive talent, or I mean, you could also argue maybe we'll go offensive tackle because the depth there isn't very good, and I don't know what Halapuli Vaitai's future is with this team. I don't know if it's at guard. I don't know if it's at tackle. Kind of have to wait to see what this coaching staff has. But yeah, it everything opens up after the quarterbacks, and I don't know what the Lions will do because they have so many needs.
Yeah, and I mean, Sewell might be a top. You talk an offensive line. Sewell out of Oregon might be one of those guys who goes pretty highly. He might be pretty well sought after. And I think I've said it before, you build the offensive line and you can do whatever you want with your offense. People are kind of chiding the Lions saying they want to run the ball. Guess what? You have a great offensive line. You can run the ball whenever you want. So Ryan, I guess that brings up to the question. Well, actually, before I get to that, what are your thoughts as far as just positions that you would want to see the Lions take outside of quarterback?
Yeah, so I mean, I alluded to it at the top of the podcast at the end of the first segment, talking about wide receiver. I think that is absolutely a need for Detroit. When you look at their wide receiver depth chart right now, it's Geronimo Allison and Quintez Cephas, and not a whole lot else to speak about. I mean, there's the possibility that Lions bring back Kenny Golladay. Rumors about a franchise tag. I mean, unsubstantiated rumors at that. So I mean, I'm just thinking at this point, I think Kenny Golladay just doesn't fit into the Lions timeline. So you look at the draft and you look at some of the top prospects that are available. Jalen Waddle from Alabama, Jamar Chase from LSU, couple of, I mean, just top tier wide receivers. I want nothing to do with Devonta Smith. I'm right there with Mathbaum and Kentley Platt. Like I don't see a way in which he has to be a unicorn among unicorns in order for him to succeed in the NFL.
He's already a unicorn.
At the college level, he is. I mean, if it's not being nitpicky, but like, I mean, he did leave the national championship game with an injury.
The finger injury, like that has nothing to do with his size.
I mean, it's an injury nonetheless.
Right.
The best ability is availability. All I'm saying is that at 7, the Lions are going to have the lot of wide receiver offensive weapons to choose from. Hey, guess what? You know who I'd even put on the board too?
Who's that?
Kyle Pitts from Florida, tight end.
Tight end, how dare you?
I hate that.
I do.
Why do you hate it? Why?
Position of value.
Yeah, there's too many other needs.
No, but he is not like a tight end like TJ Hawkinson.
I know.
Mm-hmm. I don't think this. From what I've seen, from what I know about Anthony Lynn, I don't think we're going to go two tight end sets. That's all.
Lions are 100% going to use a lot of 12 personnel.
Dan Campbell.
That is true, actually. Yeah, Dan Campbell might just get really aggro with that.
But if you're okay with the Lions taking a wide receiver, but not Kyle Pitts, I call foo-foo on you.
I mean, I get that Kyle Pitts can be essentially a wide receiver, but he's not. He's a tight end, and he'll still play tight end at this level, I think.
Okay, well,
I feel like we're just kind of.
Let's see the numbers he runs at his pro day, and tell me that he's not capable of doing what wide receivers do.
Fugazi pro day numbers.
I mean, you could look at the tape too. All I'm saying is like, would we take outside of running back, like wide receiver or offensive skill position, whether or not it's quarterback, which is technically one, wide receiver or tight end? Like you guys are at quarterback and wide receiver. That's all you'd be okay with at 7.
I might.
So
consider
I think
offensive tackle. Yeah, offensive tackle is on my board as well. But yeah, skill position.
Now, do you say that just because of the uncertainty with Vaitai and maybe this regime looking at him as potentially more of a guard than a tackle?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember. I think it was Anthony Lynn who said something like, "I like our depth inside, but we might need." I think he said something to the fact of, we could maybe use some depth on the outside.
So I think this takes me into, my opinion is that I just want to see defense because I've been pounding this table for seemingly forever. And like, I'm all about offensive line at this point too. But I think that kind of dovetails to the next topic is that I've taken Jeremy's place this year. I don't think the Lions, unless they are 100% sold on a man like a Micah Parsons, sits at 7. You've already acquired a ton of draft capital. There's enough hungry teams at the top of this draft. You can absolutely trade down and still get your man if you want to go like a Kwity Paye from, Michigan for the defensive line. I think I said his name right, Jeremy.
You're asking the wrong person.
You're a Michigan man. What are you talking about? I'm asking the wrong person.
I did not watch any of Michigan football last year.
I was going to say, Jeremy stopped being a Michigan fan after the MSU game this year.
But I mean, the second half of this draft is rich with offensive line, if you want to go that way. Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. I mean, even some of these wide receivers you might get around like 15 or 16 or 17, like a Waddle, depending on whose mock draft you look at right now. So, and defensive linemen like Jalen Phillips out of Miami, I think there's plenty of value to move out of. You lose some control over who you draft with, but I think this year in particular, you can find plenty of draft partners to move down. Well, okay. Not far, mind you, but just enough.
Well, let's bring up the one example we have, and that was from Dane Brugler's mock draft that was dropped earlier last week, where he had the Lions trading from 7 all the way down to 19. With a quarterback hungry Washington football team who traded up to 7 and got Trey Lance, and the Lions got this in return. So they obviously moved down to 19, I should say. They pick up a 3rd round pick this year and another 1st round pick next year. So that sets them up to have 3 1st round picks next year.
Jesus Christ.
And then at 19 they pick and this is I set myself up in the bet. Maybe I'll ask you. This is a Notre Dame linebacker edge guy, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I'm going to say. And I think I nailed that.
Look, man, I think that's a Polynesian name. Plus Notre Dame seems to always make good offensive linemen. Yeah. I like it. I absolutely love it. I didn't watch much Notre Dame this year, but I'm absolutely Notre Dame breeds some pretty good linemen there.
Yeah, I think that's very much an ideal scenario. You look at some other mocks; they have him top 5. So I mean, opinions are varied, and they will be at this point in the draft, and maybe they'll converge a little bit. But let's just talk about the value there. You're getting a defensive guy, a defensive first.
I'm sorry, I said lineman. He's a linebacker.
Linebacker.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. They make good linebackers too, outside of one guy in particular.
But yeah, let's talk about the value of that. Like you're gonna miss out on those top wide receivers. You're gonna miss out on those top offensive linemen. You're gonna miss out on Kyle Pitts. But you pick up an extra first round. You pick up an extra third round this year. Ryan, are you pulling the trigger on that trade right away?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even matter who's available at 7. Like, I don't care if Zach Wilson's at 7. Like, I think you do that trade.
Okay.
I think that the Lions are in this position where Jared Goff is their guy, and the more assets that they can accumulate. If you have 3 first-round draft picks next year, guess what? You can pick whatever quarterback you want at number 1.
Yeah, that's a super weapon. I'm sorry, that's like a super weapon. And unless there's like a can't miss guy for the team who has tanked at the top of the draft, and by all means, that might be the Lions. That might be the Lions at the top of the draft.
Well, and the way you look at that is, okay, the Lions have 3 first-round picks going into next year. That's a Godfather offer that trumps literally anything that anybody else can put together realistically. And look at the immediate impact you get as well. You only move down 12 spots, and I mean, if they can get a guy like, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, I'm so sorry, but the linebacker from Notre Dame, who's much more suited to play a modern NFL game. I don't want him at 7. Like that's far too high. I think that he's a weak side linebacker, and I think just like there isn't that much value that high. Like that's almost kind of like, you know, the argument that you just made, Jeremy, about like positional value of taking a tight end like Kyle Pitts at 7. I think an off-ball linebacker at 7 is kind of in that same vein. But if you move all the way down to 19 and he's available, awesome. And I think the unspoken thing is another third-round pick. That's another potential starter down the road. And for a guy like Brad Holmes and his track record and using those mid-draft picks and hitting on players like John Johnson, I mean,
and that would give the Lions 3 this year. They already got an extra one from the Rams. So, I mean, I'm definitely taking that trade because, I teased it at the end of the first segment, but no, I'm team trade down. Like there is a scenario, and I mentioned at the top, like I think the only reason the Lions ever trade up in this draft is because they are sold on a quarterback. And one quote from Dan Campbell to me tells me they probably aren't going to do that, because he basically said like, everyone, like 100% of our staff needs to be on board. If it's a 50-50 split in the draft room, we're not doing it, because we need kind of a baseline before we get a quarterback in here. So I don't think they're trading up. If they're trading down, like I know we're talking about having 3 first-round picks next year and be like, okay, go get your quarterback. To me, I'm like, 3 first-round picks? Hell yeah, give me 3 first-round talents on this team. That's what this team really needs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care about trading up and get, like, I'll ride Goff for his whole contract if we have 3 first-rounders next year. Hell yeah.
But I also think that the Lions, even if they are better than we anticipate, I still think they're going to be a top 10 draft pick next year. I think maybe, I don't know. Like, I look at this team, there's a lot of holes to fill besides the offensive line. I think there will be a talent of excitement, but we said that about the Panthers this year. And guess what? The Panthers still ended up with a top 10 pick, and everyone thought the Panthers were better than they thought they were going to be, at least for half the season. So but I mean, God, that's 3 first-round picks. Are you kidding me? Like that's also crazy that you're giving up a first-round pick for next year to go up like 10 spots. I'm just not used to that market, but if that's the price, then hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at the Jimmy Johnson trade chart, and there's the whole thing that a first this year is worth a second next year. Next year's first is worth a second round pick this year. So next year's
1
first,
2 plus 2 plus 1.
Yeah, whatever. It's weird, but it's how people decide to trade it. If you were to count that as a first round pick this year, the Lions trading down and then getting an extra first round pick, then yeah, it's hugely in the Lions' favor. But I mean, for the thing is, the Lions just like they don't. There's no urgency right now, and so to me, loading up on draft picks is a great strategy. perhaps.
And there's so many positions that do need to be filled. This team needs to get younger. It needs to get a lot of guys who are under salary, who are under just rookie control, and it needs to rebuild almost an entire defense within the next few years.
Yeah.
There's some guys this year who I think are going to play out their contract, but next year there will be more needs on defense again, probably. And who knows what the future is going to hold for a guy like Ragnow or Decker. I think the way I've always heard it is like once you have offensive linemen, because someone was asking me why aren't offensive linemen more on the free agency market? It's because the best ones, you hold on to them no matter what. And I think the Lions should be holding on to Decker and Ragnow. But as you say, as I've been saying, like you want to get some more offensive linemen, by all means, go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Can't argue through building through the trenches. It works just about everywhere that you've seen it. Although the Lions have certainly tried to build through the trenches for years and just gotten a lot of guys that don't cut the mustard.
One trench, right?
One side of the trench. Yes.
Fair.
All right. I'm kind of running out of steam here. I did want to talk about Stafford's comments a little bit. I know he did some interviews, so why don't we take a quick break here? We'll put a bow in all of this. We'll come back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast, wrap stuff up, step away from the draft for a few minutes, and just talk about some more stuff in the news here. Yeah, Jeremy's doing a fist pump, so I'll let him take us to break again.
Well, we're all through with draft talk until April, so stick around for the PODcast. When we come back, Mathew Stafford speaks. And what did the coordinator say that will make you go,
Not as energetic that time. I'm giving that one a 5, like a 6 out of 10.
That was more like a YouTube teaser.
Top 10 Minecraft Twitch streamers who swore on stream. Okay. All right. Sorry, we hit the 15-minute there, and I felt like we were kind of running out of. I was at least running out of steam on that topic.
No,
so,
I think that was perfect.
Like, all right,
because we went long on.
Because we went long on the first one. Yeah.
Got to catch up on a couple bit alerts.
Everyone's mad that we were just kind of like dismissing Pitts. Like all of chat is like up in arms about our comments on Pitts.
I don't believe that.
Your comments on Pitts.
No, that's what I meant. Me and Jeremy.
I don't believe that.
I knew you where you stand, Rob.
I don't believe that that Lions fans would be on board with taking a tight end at 7.
Another first-round tight end.
He's not just a tight end. He plays outside in the slot. He can line up on the line. Like
he likes dinosaurs, Hall and Oates, Motown.
Yeah, baby. Come on.
No.
He's in a journey.
Then you can't be okay with him taking a wide receiver. You literally cannot.
Don't tell me what I can and can't do. You're not my dad.
Well, because no. I don't know what the implication was there, but
please listen.
Hall and Oates is Motown. Change my mind. I can't say anything about that would not get me banned from Twitch, or at least very angry emails.
One way to settle this.
What are you doing?
Poll time. Kyle Pitts at 7.
Oh no.
Yes. No. Let's hear it, chat. By the way, Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it'll be at least 40% yes, and I'm gonna take that as a win.
There are currently 8 votes in, and there are currently 0 yes votes.
Oh, no, there's 1.
Now we're
1 to 13.
Then I don't want you to be okay with him taking a wide receiver.
By the way, Nick the Greek with a couple more 100 bits. First says Matt Deary gave Jeremy 100 blue chews on the coming podcast, and he thought they were fruit snacks. Not true. I know what blue chew is. I listen to enough podcasts. How dare you? And then he says, "You
cavorting with other podcasts. I feel betrayed."
It's fine. He just wanted me to talk about my mustache. Nick the Greek then gave 100 bits with an oddly serious comment. Says, first this year uniquely bad because so much less scouting and tape. True. And the Lions don't have their whole scouting department in house yet. Like, you have to imagine that next year Brad Holmes is going to be like, all right, well, we have a bunch of you Lions guys in here because I didn't have time to completely overhaul scouting staff, and I wasn't going to do that right before the draft. So
how do you even scout this year's class too? Like
tape.
I know that, but there's not a lot of tape. For some teams, there's not a lot of tape, Jeremy.
Tape and phone calls. That's what you got to do. Another 100 bits from Petman. Appreciate you. Chat. Right now, Deuce Staley is watching, and he's crying. Because there are only 15 subs. We need 85.
You're not getting rid of it.
In the last
I think Twitch is calling you on this Twitch is calling you on this bluff now, Jeremy. They know too much is now riding on this mustache. If you come in next week and it's gone and Deuce Staley he's just going to take questions from you anymore.
I'm not going to see Deuce Staley until September. I could grow it out again if I wanted.
This is true. This is very true. Damn.
I got you in trapped chat.
Speak.
Words. Patman says F the stash. All right. I will shave
that
it.
Is a minority
the second
opinion.
After this podcast, if we don't raise 100 subs, I want it gone. I want to be able to drink a smoothie again. I asked for that, Josh. I asked for that 25 bomb from Joshua.
Jesus Christ!
He has gifted 256 subs to the channel.
I wish I had the kind of disposable income some of you have that just throw it at Jeremy like this.
Oh, I missed the poll. Shoot, what was the poll at, chat?
It wasn't good for Kyle Pitts. It was not good for Kyle Pitts. It was like
now do a poll with Jamar Chase at number 7, and I call foo on all you if that one.
No at 82% with 37 votes. Yes only got 8 votes. Yeah, I think 37 to 8 scoregami.
How do you spell Jamar Chase? Is it 2 A's?
No, just JA''MARR.
That's what it was. There you go. I think Jeremy would love to shave it and give no shits. Yeah, accurate. Get you fit. Gifted another sub, this time to SC Ghost, who I've seen plenty of times around here on Twitch. That bumps us up.
Very
to
big on our Discord too.
True facts. Jamar Chase is already at 67%. Yes. Yell at him, Ryan. Get mad.
I mean, you're all fools. You don't. This just proves that you don't know who Kyle Pitts is. Like, you're just looking at it and going, tight end.
He's also from Florida, and every time he's been drafted from Florida in the last few years, it's been a bust. And yes, I will hold his college against him.
7 gifted from Uncle Indigo, who is now gifted exactly 100 gifted subs to the chat. Incredible. I don't even know what to say about you guys. Indigo,
you're all psychopaths.
Joshua,
that's what I say.
Craig. There's so many of you that do this.
All right, we'll wait for the Jamar Chase poll to close, and then I got to read up on some of these Stafford comments.
Yeah, we're currently at 77% say Jamar Chase. Totally okay with. Voted yes to mess with Ryan. Well, there you go.
By the way, for people who missed your Madden sim, Jeremy, like me, what happened with that?
The Detroit Lions defeated the Los Angeles Rams.
With Jared Goff at quarterback and Stafford at quarterback for the Rams.
That is correct, yes. The Rams I think the Lions actually got out to an early lead. The Rams then took the lead on a strip sack fumble return by Jared Goff. And then the Lions just took over the rest of the game. Stafford was horrible. Although virtual Stafford was horrible all of last year. So
yeah, I'm going to say it sounds like Madden's just a bunch of haters.
They are. They like to think that Mathew Stafford has never moved an inch out of the pocket ever. Deron Harmon did have an interception. That is true. Thank you, Z Money, for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Pride. Hope you stick around a while. Right.
Oh, wait, we still have some time on the poll. I was about to say.
3-minute poll. It's just about to end here. We're at 74%.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It gives me some time to down more caffeine.
Hey, DJ1724 uses his Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate that. By the way, if you have Amazon Prime and you have a Twitch account, you can link the two together, sub to our channel for free. doesn't cost you a dime, supports our channel financially, allows these two to get green screen so that we can all be green screen partners.
Yeah, I'll be reporting up from the rafters where there will be a banner for Jeremy's mustache and a banner for most reviewed Lions podcast.
The only thing I request that you also put in the rafters is Sting. I want Sting in the rafters.
yes.
It has to be like barely visible though. It has to be just like.
I think each week I'm going to Photoshop something new into that picture until the rafters just look like a total mess.
Until it just looks like the background of Pardon the Interruption with all the.
It's going to look like the Staples Centers. It's going to look like the Staples Center during a Lakers game. There's going to be so many banners up there. It's just like, what is the point?
A lot of fabric.
I remember saying that.
What's that?
Connor had clipped the Madden stream. At some point, I said the words "touching tips," and so.
Oh jeez.
We can get started, even though I did a Micah Parsons at 7 poll as well, which is currently 50-50. Micah Parsons. Yeah, I don't think there's a more polarizing guy in the draft right now because one, the questionable character concerns, which I've heard is a little bit overblown. And then two, I think the value of a linebacker, like we all, I think most of us saw Jeff Risdon's rants about drafting an off-ball linebacker and pooping his pants about it a little bit, which is fine. Whatever.
I do a show every Saturday morning with one of the best guys out of Penn State from an offensive lineman. So I might have to ask what he thinks about Micah Parsons. So
I've also heard he does a little bit more than just off the ball stuff. Like he would be a good edge defender, maybe even a jack linebacker if the Lions go that route defensively.
Jack of all trades, use him for a lot of different things, man.
Yep.
The thing I like about the kid from Notre Dame, Jeremiah, is it Owusu Koramoah?
Let me look at the name again. Sure. Once I look at Jeremiah Owusu Koramoah.
Yeah. So the thing that I think is interesting about him that I read is that while he would be like an off-the-ball linebacker in like a base 4-3 set, he is like a 3-down defender who like actually moves to like a box safety in like some sub packages. So like,
yeah, he's fast too. Like
really,
he's finally got some speed.
That's like that modern day, NFL linebacker who can get, sideline to sideline.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Would love one of those. Finally.
Yeah, most mocks I'm reading have Owusu Koramoah kind of going later in the first round. So,
yeah, the only different one I saw was the Ringer, and who was Danny Kelly, his draft guide. I think he's literally 4 or 5. Oh, maybe not. Where is he?
What?
Oh no, he's 8 on Danny Kelly's big board.
The Panthers?
This is just his big board. It's not a
it's big board. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the Draft Network, he's not much further down. I want to say that he's number 12. So
the poll.
I do want to reiterate
15-16. By the way,
I do want to reiterate one last very important point before we get started again. That Trevor Lawrence, his face, he does look like one of those heads on Easter Island. Very angular. I think he's the next Manning face, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the league with Manning face.
Jonathan, I have a podcast to do. You come podcast with us. How about that? Instead of I play Fortnite with you. Thoughts? Not right now, though.
Jonathan, you got to sing that. What's that Fortnite song? I saw someone put that over like American Psycho, Christian Bale listening to it in his headphones, but I forget the name of it.
There's a Fortnite song?
You don't even know what I'm talking about. It's like the young kid singing.
No. Oh, is he singing the a parody to like?
It's like, come with me to Smiley. I don't know. I don't play Fortnite. I'll say.
Want you. You'll be my American boy. That the parody to that song.
American Boy by Estelle featuring Kanye West.
Yeah, that's the one. Anyways.
I don't know that song either. I'll just send you the video.
I think it's that. But anyways, the Micah Parsons poll finished exactly at 50-50%. So Interesting.
Wonderful.
Maybe that'll just be my question of the day for tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'm caught up on the Stafford stuff a little bit here, so
right.
Let's jump back in and land this podcast safely.
Let's do it.
And by the way, if you are in chat, stick around because once the podcast, we do say we're done with the podcast. We're not done on stream. We come back. We have the after party. More talk with our lovely chats. And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD-cast. I'm not letting Jeremy take the wheel after that one. And we're going to bring this home. Let's step away from the draft a little bit because we're going to have plenty of time to talk about the draft. Although I think the next couple of weeks, we are going to start to talk more about free agency, I think, Jeremy, because that's going to be obviously coming first. But we do need to get position to position in the draft. I think that's something we want to do this year with the podcast.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We've got some. I think I'm working like hell. We're going to have some interesting guests coming up here for the Pride of Detroit POD cast for the next few weeks as well. A couple of names, some you recognize, some who might be brand new, but definitely entertaining ourselves in the off season. And if you're not subscribed yet, you absolutely should be on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get podcasts. But now we take a step back from that, and I know we've talked a lot about Stafford on this podcast for good reason, although I think some fans will at some point in the near future get to the point where it's like, oh, wow, I'm kind of tired of hearing about Stafford. He's not a Lion anymore. Let's move on and talk about this team, which I don't like, but I mean, I get it. But Stafford did have his big interview last week or so, where he did talk about the team. He talked about kind of the introspective about his time in Detroit, his farewell to Detroit, and dished out quite a bit of interesting tidbits, Jeremy. What sat out to you the most?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was surprising, some of it wasn't too surprising, you know, him kind of saying all the right things as he typically does, because, I mean, that's one of the most professional things about him is that he just absolutely knows how to play the media, 100%. And so, you know, he had the two people that he talked to are one guy from Channel 7, I think, who he happens to be like really good friends with, and then Mitch Albom, who he also happens to be really good friends with and is part of like the Say Play Detroit center. They both kind of pitched in and funded. And so one of the farewell gifts and that the Staffords are leaving to Detroit is they're adding an educational center to that Say Play Detroit. So I thought that was pretty cool, pretty classy of them. But in terms of things that he said, I guess it was the stuff that he said with Mitch Albom about the coaches that he had throughout his time in Detroit. Like he said, you know, he'll always be grateful for Jim Schwartz for giving him a shot and you know, kind of banging the drum for him here in Detroit. And then he said Jim Caldwell certainly would have liked to play with him for a couple more years. Which I thought that's like the most honest answer you'll ever get out of Mathew Stafford. And he said, like, listen, I get why they fired Caldwell. They were trying to take another step that this franchise hasn't taken, but he would have liked to play another couple years with him. And I think a lot of us in retrospect might agree with him. And then obviously the Patriots questions came in. So he was asked about his relationship with Matt Patricia, and he said it's a good relationship. It grew throughout the years, which might be kind of a hint that maybe it wasn't so great at the beginning, which I think most reports would say was true in at least that first year. And then he was asked about the rumor about the Patriots and him not wanting to be traded there. And in typical Mathew Stafford fashion, he completely punted on that question, said, you know, what is true is that I wanted to go to a competitor. And he kind of left it at that. So
no, I think that's not even punting. That spot the lie. The Patriots are not competing next year. Sorry, I don't think they are. We're all kind of looking at Bill Belichick expecting the same magic. I don't think they are.
Yeah. The reporter, by the way, was from Channel 4. His name is Hank Winchester. He's a very close friend of the Staffords, and it seems like for all of the Stafford rumors that kept on emerging, it seemed like they may have been coming. I remember the Smilovitz rumors last offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Channel 4
Yep.
again.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, that's another interesting thing that I don't think we ever really talked about is, the rumors prior to that. Stafford was like explicitly linked to the Los Angeles Chargers at that point, another LA team. So I mean, like, who knows how much veracity there was to to earlier trade reports with maybe the Lions shopping Mathew Stafford to see what they could get for him. But I mean, I totally understand why Patricia and Quinn didn't want to give up on Stafford, because giving up on him was essentially signing their their quitting notices.
Right. And I think one thing, another kind of takeaway from the Stafford interviews was that he said they were thinking about it last year. It had popped up in their head. So maybe that's the source of where those rumors came up, is that maybe his leak in Channel 4 caught wind of him talking about it and it's like, oh, this is news, let me talk about it. But it did seem like that was only because Stafford saw the writing on the wall with the coaching staff, right? Like he knew going into 2020 it was a make or break season, and he knew probably had a pretty good idea it might break. And so he was just like, well, if it breaks, I don't want to sit through this. I don't think the Lions should want me to sit through it, because it would leave them in purgatory. It'd leave them in, this 7 to 9 win territory where they're not getting any real accomplishments on the field, but they're not getting the top 10 picks that they would be through a full rebuild. So overall, I mean, I thought Stafford was classy, as he typically is. It didn't say anything wrong, didn't say anything too revealing, but I think I'm kind of gonna miss that about it. Hopefully, and I don't think Goff is gonna come in and like tear shit up and be like, oh, I don't know what this offensive line is like. That's not Goff.
No, I think if you needle Goff enough, he might spill some tea on like Sean McVay maybe, or how it fell apart in LA. But I don't even see that out of Goff, to be honest. No. All these quarterbacks are very well trained not to say anything to upset the apple cart, unless you just kind of completely lose it, like a Russell Wilson or something. And I use that very subjectively, but I mean, by QB standards, Russell Wilson says one thing and suddenly he's being strung up. So These guys know better than to talk.
100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him. I don't know. There's some talk about his number. I know John Whitaker did the open thread on Monday asking, hey, should Stafford's number be retired by the Lions? I don't think so, but I mean, he's going to get on that ring of fame. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like we were talking off stream about it. And I feel like to have your number retired, there has to be like an iconic moment, that whether it's, winning the division, going to the Super Bowl, it has to be some sort of big team accomplishment, because I think we can all agree we all really like Stafford and think he's a very, very talented quarterback, but his legacy in Detroit will always be mixed because there wasn't that team success.
He's going to be 0-3 in the playoffs. That's what it's going to be. I know I know we've railed about quarterback wins and everything, but those narratives do matter. Especially where your legacy is concerned.
Plus, I mean, I'm just retiring numbers. One, I don't really like it too much, and it doesn't make as much sense in the NFL either, because I mean, at one point in the offseason you have 90 players on your roster.
Yeah,
you retire more than 10, you're screwed.
And I know I talked with Manser about this back when he was still with Pride of Detroit, that it is kind of cool how if you are a young guy and you get to wear the number in an organization of a legendary player, like you get handed, say, Calvin Johnson's number 81. That's cool. That's kind of saying like you're expected to take up the mantle to be that next great wide receiver. So, I mean, one day down the road, if someone wants to try to take up number 9, that would be fantastic, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's all?
Retiring numbers doesn't do it for me. Retire 91 for the Red Wings, and then we'll have a conversation about how proper numbers get retired. But I don't know. Like, I think it's way cooler to do just like a Ring of Honor. Like, do it how the Lions have it, where like, you know what, somebody else could pick up that number too. And like you said, Chris, it's kind of like this like honor thing. I know Michigan did that a little bit with Tom Herman's number, when number 98, when Devin Gardner was wearing it and he was a quarterback. Like, I don't know. It was like a cool novelty. It's like you never see that, and it's like it's a form of honor and responsibility and respect getting shared with the player. So I think that's I think that's just how you should handle player numbers. Like, even in like very specific situations, like not to go back to the Red Wings, but like nobody has ever worn number 16 since Vladimir Konstantinov. And there's been plenty of players who've been here, like Brett Hull came here, made a career off being number 16 and went to number 17. And then I think that there was another Wings player who was 16 his entire career and went to 61. So I don't know. You don't have to like retire. What's the whole thing with retiring jerseys? Why do we do it?
I think some people just want to see that set in stone. They don't like this. Like, I think maybe it comes from the Yankees, because the Yankees have retired like a ton of numbers.
Like, do they even have any single digit numbers left?
I don't think they do. After Derek Jeter, there might be like 1 or 2 single numbers left, but
yeah.
It's I get it, because it's cool saying this number is sacrosanct, but again, as I said, I think there's other ways around it. And
there are other ways of doing it. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, there's other ways to treat these things. It's kind of weird how we get sentimental about these things, but that's sports for you. All right, one more topic I wanted to hit on, because we did have some other news that came out in the NFL, not Stafford related, but I do feel like we talked a lot about linebackers and defense going into the draft, but I did want to bring this up because J.J. Watt was asked to be released. He asked the Texans for his release, and I'm like squelching inside a little bit, but you know where I'm going to go with this question. Should the Lions maybe pursue J.J. Watt?
Yes, they should pursue him, and J.J. Watt will say, no, thank you, and then that'll be that.
Okay, good talk.
I mean, what do the Lions have to offer J.J. freaking Watt?
He can be a mentor for the next generation.
Does he want that? Doesn't that dude wants a ring? Come on, that dude either wants a ring or wants to play with his brothers in Pittsburgh. Or
say he wants a ring, he calls him a glory hog, Jeremy, and he will not stand for that.
The Lions don't have the money, they don't have the prestige, they don't have either the home cooking that the Packers have or the relations that the Pittsburgh has. Like, when you see a big name on the market like that, you absolutely do your due diligence and make a call. But I'm sorry, like the Lions are in no position to be hauling in major free agents right now. They just aren't. We're not. And when free agency comes, like, I don't expect any marquee signings. I just don't. Like, you can say like, oh, Dan Campbell's going to tell them to eat a kneecap, and suddenly they're all like, no, that's not that's not how it's going to work. I know he did a great job with the coaching staff, and I want to commend him on that. But free agency is a different bag. These guys are looking for money. These guys are looking for rings, and I don't think the Lions can offer much of either.
Do you worry he's going to end up? You mentioned the Packers. Because I know also one of the leaders probably is the Bears, because they could probably use him for their defense. Are you worried he's going to come to the NFC North?
Yeah, 100%. Very, very worried. I would hate him in a Packers uniform, but makes sense. He's from Wisconsin. He played football at Wisconsin. I don't know about the Bears too much, because they're in worse salary cap situation than I think the Lions are. But
yeah, they are.
It's possible. Even it would make me sick to have Mike Zimmer have that guy on his team. So I don't think the Vikings either have the money either. But any team on the NFC North would make me sick.
Yeah. I mean, the positive to it though is I think if you put JJ Watt on like a Packers defense, like holy smokes, that's 2 losses you can almost count on for the Lions this season. Or, if he ends up going to the Vikings, like, oh, the Vikings are going to be a really tough game this season again. Like, JJ Watt's that tier of player. Like, seeing his stats, like, he's the only person you could make an argument for being the most, like, just game-changing defensive player outside of Aaron Donald. Like,
it's funny. It is funny though, because like I heard again, this is where Chris says he works in sports talk radio, but I heard people talking this week saying like, well, he was banged up and he's been gone through several injuries and he wasn't productive last year, so he wasn't worth what, like, the Texans were right to cut him. Well, it wasn't their choice to begin with, so he asked to be cut. But just in general, just saying like he's not the player he used to be, and I disagree with that. Like, he played a full season this year, but the Texans were awful, and man, some of those numbers show he can still be productive. Although it would be a silver lining if he did come to the NFC North, did hand us a few more losses and just improved our draft stock.
He just kicks our butt for a couple of years, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. May I have another?
Yes. But the NFC North just always does that stuff. And I guess even back when it was like the NFC Central, but it's like the Packers get Reggie White and he terrorizes the division. The Bears get Julius Peppers and he terrorizes the division.
Jared Allen.
The Vikings get Jared Allen and he terrorizes the division. Like, it happens for everybody except for the Lions. I can't wait for the Lions to eventually be a destination for players to go. Isn't that going to be fun and exciting? Like, that might actually make Jeremy a little bit less Scrooge about the offseason. If the Lions become a destination place.
Hey, Trey Flowers, we signed him to a monster deal. He's terrorizing the NFC
North. Adrian Peterson, legend.
Trey Flowers is terrorizing the Detroit Lions salary cap.
Oh, come on.
Reggie Bush.
I like Trey Flowers. That was mean of me to say.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it here. We have to address, we're going to play our after party with Twitch chat a little bit. And as always, hey, if you want to join us live for the podcast, live when we record the podcast, join us on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit or check on YouTube for Pride of Detroit. And you can inquire around on Twitch about our Discord. We have a Discord where Lions fans and NFL fans can hang out, talk all kinds of junk, long off season, plenty of sports chat, plenty of video games chat, and of course, a lot of Lions chat. But we're wrapping up the PODcast right now, the recorded side of it. And we tell you, as always, we will see you Starside, because next time we have a lot more planned for the off season, man. It's going to be juicy. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we hope you are along for the ride. Keep leaving those reviews. I'll try to pick out one each week that I find funny. And keep riding this train. Pride of Detroit, onward to Dominion. Once more, we'll see you Starside. Miss Ruby, thank you for the raid.
Yes. Ms.
Sorry,
Ruby.
we were in our we really need something on the stream, Jeremy, where it's like on air. It's like we can't press the chat.
I whispered to her. I muted myself and whispered. And I did get a haircut last week, Mrs. Ruby. She is staunchly against the mustache, by the way. So she has urged everyone who came in the raid not to give any subs, which I respect. I respect that.
You know what? She's a woman who respects good food and realizes that mustache is just getting in the way of you eating.
It is. Me drinking a milkshake or a smoothie is just, it's like a dog trying to eat spaghetti. It's a mess.
Gross. All right, let me get rid of the Craig bots. Once again, give it up for Craig and Giark. Once again, not crashing.
Way to go, these guys.
All right, I got to get out of here though, guys.
Oops.
I got potential snow day that I'm staring at.
You should pick your feet back up and hang out.
Yeah, I wish it was like that.
Fair enough.
See you guys. Have fun.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Joshua.
He just dropped a 50 bomb.
Why?
Joshua, are you kidding me?
How do you get this kind of money to throw around? I don't.
You guys are silly.
I wish I could do this.
Joshua, are you kidding?
Angry dumb beetle with 5 more. Where are we at now?
We were at 50, and Joshua goes over. Because Craig, by the way, Craig slipped 5 in there right before Joshua dropped a 50 bomb. Joshua has now given 306 subs to the channel. Joshua,
I'm doing the math in my head. That's psychotic.
I owe you like not only a round of beers, I owe you a damn keg at this point.
More than one keg. I know the going price of kegs. You need more than one keg. Joshua is getting Joshua is going to get the Stafford when we do the live POD show in Detroit. We're going to get him the Stafford throne that he had in that one video. Yeah. And he's just going to sit next to the stage while we're doing the show.
Oh my god.
Real quick, not to neglect YouTube chat. Hufanga, safety, USC. Please watch. Check the stats from Go Lions. Yeah, no, I'm a USC grad. I love USC football. Hufanga is amazing. I'd love to. I don't know if he's first round talent, but I would. Lions do need to draft a safety. I'd love
they
to see
could
it.
use one. And yeah, I mean, another interesting thing that this time Aaron Glenn said is that he's really excited about the secondary, including, and maybe we should have talked a little bit about this, or I thought about it. Maybe we should have talked a little bit more about like their thoughts on running backs, because they are hyped about DeAndre Swift.
Yes, they are.
They think he's going to be a 3-down back. If you have DeAndre Swift stock, hold on to it because it's about to rise.
Yeah, see what it is, because like keep him on your radar if you're drafting for your fantasy league, because it sounds like he might be a volume guy. Yeah, fight on, Jason. Fight on.
But anyways, to say Aaron Glenn said he was excited about both his young safeties, and so you have to imagine he's talking there about both Tracy Walker and Will Harris, which I still want to believe in Tracy Walker. And I feel like if they put him in the right position and don't confuse the heck out of him, then yeah, maybe something is there. Will Harris, though, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can stretch my Kool-Aid that far.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant on there, but I think I think that's part of the strategy is you just talk good hype about these guys and you give them.
Right.
I like, by the way, that your green screen, whatever you're drinking, is caught by the green screen so much. It's a green cup. Is that why?
Cup, yeah.
Okay. Why is USC suddenly a top 10 class after they were in the 60s or 70s last class? I mean, that's a good question. I think USC is going through some weird stuff with its athletic department. Me personally, as a fan, I'm not sure why Clay Helton is still the coach, but I think the fact that they're committing to Clay Helton longer term does probably stop a lot of the negative recruiting where it's like, hey, be careful. Clay Helton might not be there. But now that he's there, like, yeah, as you say, USC has one of the richest backyards for a school in the country. And I'm always shocked with what little they do with the talent recently. But, one day, man, we'll get back to it. Oh, Jason, watching from Ventura, lovely. I live in the Valley, so Jeremy used to live in the Valley before he went back to Michigan too.
Van Nuys, what's up? Where my Van Nuys people at? Nobody? Cool.
Nobody. Crickets.
Couple 200 bits from Nick. First says, with great mustache comes great responsibility. True. Then he says, tell Deuce Daly this mustache makes me $500 per week and do not answer any of his follow-up questions. That's only partially true because 100 subs is $500 worth of subscriptions, but we don't see all of that 100. Twitch takes about half of it.
But still, that's still even half. That's a lot.
No, it's definitely, I'm not trying to minimize that.
I wish I could get that money. All right.
And then someone asked for this, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
As he whimpers. John Whitaker has actually not shaved his mustache since November of 2019, but nobody noticed. Yeah, because John doesn't come on the podcast anymore. He should.
When can we run
Everyone
that Fortnite?
Hear from our sad boy.
I want to make a run at partnership here on Twitch, and then once I do, I want to do more gaming streams where we play with fans and things like that.
Yeah, and I know you and I, Jeremy, we've talked about it, and I've unfortunately gotten hit with 2 massive weeks of work again, but I do want to kind of take part in some of those gaming streams too. And I know maybe we got to get you to play Valheim, and we just all turn into Vikings exploring the Zeus, because Zeus was the one who turned me on to that game. He said that's apparently like a big thing. So
when will Jeremy do a live combing of the stash on stream for chat?
Oh my God, right.
No, we are not getting into like mustache fetishes here.
ASMR. Mustache ASMR. No one does this with my goatee. They just admit that they just know that it's ratty.
POD Among Us, maybe. I don't really like Among Us, but that would be contentious. Are you guys going to live POD cast for the draft, like a super cast with the whole staff at POD? So, Brendan, I don't know if you were here last year. We essentially did something like that last year where we had, I want to say about 6 of us plus Brett Whitefield from PFF just on stream the entire day for day 1 and day 2 of the draft. The entire day, I believe, for both of those.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of people in here. Like that's one stream. That's the one stream Reno will actually show up for.
Yeah,
and Jerry is an absolute must. He does. Jerry, who everyone still loves, and we got plenty of reviews saying more Jerry, more Jerry. Jerry does show up for those draft streams, absolutely.
And in fact, I think I can show you the moment that we drafted Jeff Okudah, and you can just kind of get a sense of what that looks like. I believe we posted it on Facebook, so I can just pull it up on Facebook. Yes, here we go.
Pick.
I have the pick.
It's Okudah. It's Okudah.
Yes.
With the 3rd overall pick,
God, look at my mustache.
Ohio State quarterback Jeff Okudah.
What was I doing with my hands?
I'm here for it. Loving it.
Lions actually did something good.
Wow, my go-to is right.
I don't know what this is.
All right, you can take it out of emote only mode.
I'm so excited.
Who let me do that? Who let me do that?
I forgot about floating head Hamza.
That's right, floating head Hamza.
This is the first time for a lot of us on Zoom, and we were all just kind of effing around and playing with the green screen built in there. I really got to stop doing that with my mustache, by the way. My goatee, I keep seeing my stream. I need to play with something with my hand. I'm sorry.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it. I have to imagine we'll probably do it again.
Yeah, like over 1,000 people watching that stream too.
Yeah, that was a heck of a lot of fun, and I know chat loves it, and so we'll try to do it again. We'll see if we're still going to be on YouTube at that moment, because I think at some point we have to realize that we can't stream to both simultaneously, or someone's going to get us in trouble.
We are a partner, but I mean, if they're not going to make us partner, then F it.
The guy are you talking about me in the mustache or in the Facebook video? Because the one in the Facebook video, that's Kentley Platty, who I'm sure many of you know. Well, maybe we can try to get him for the draft, although it's obviously one of his
busiest days. Yeah, and he's got a whole new network to kind of manage.
But yeah,
Johnny Kilroy, on average, you touch your face 10,000 times per day or something. Yeah, I remember seeing that stat because that was like a big thing when the COVID scare started.
So I'll go over. So obviously that's Chris, that's Alex Reno, that's me, that's Ryan looking different than normal, Jerry, that's Brett Whitefield from PFF, that's Kentley Platty, whose mustache is even more glorious than mine right now, and that's Mansoor. And
then you got to rub ahead to see Hamza's floating Wizard of Oz head.
There it is. Now he's floating.
Yeah.
POD mock draft this year. Yep. As always, we will do the community mock at some point. I think maybe once free agency is over, or maybe even before then, we'll start doing weekly streams of mock drafts where you guys kind of help us pick. We did a couple of those last year, and it was pretty fun.
Something really cool to do with the Discord too. Just kind of invite people in to
sure. Yeah.
Pick.
Do you think the draft will be virtual again this year? I would think so, probably.
Yeah, it's not. They're not going to be able to put a place in place by when's the draft? April, May? Yeah.
Najee Harris would be nice. Him and Swift would dominate. I don't like where you're going with this. Najee Harris drafting a running back. I don't know. You get 300 more bits from Nick the Greek. Find that picture of Antonio Brown where he dyed his mustache blonde and use that as a background. Hey, if you use channel points next time we stream, I will change it to that. But I think it's 20,000 channel points to change my background.
It is, yes.
And then he says, Chris, facial hair envy is deeply transparent.
I tried. I had a mustache. I had a mustache early in college. I will never do that again.
And then he says, Kentley Platty is the real life Hank Scorpio of football blogging. I don't know who Hank Scorpio is. Is he just Scorpio? I don't know who that is. I'm not well read enough. All right. I think we're getting ready to close this up, especially since you bastards hit 100 gifted subs again somehow.
Christ, man.
2 bits from Uncle Indigo says, let me help Nick. Oh, you mean with the background? Wait, I've been trying to start. Oh, you're trying to start a one-man hype train. Hey, Dpar, thank you for the host. Appreciate you. And there was another host in there after the Ruby raid that I want to make sure It was Skip 410. Thank you for the host. Appreciate you.
Skip.
I'm not a facial hair guy myself, but making Jeremy keep the stash every week brings joy. Well, if I can do that with just a mustache, then I will do that, I guess. Even it's to my own detriment. All right. Chat, I think we've reached an end here. I do want to say again, I appreciate you all. You made a fun little moment last week with Deuce Staley, and if you missed it, this is what happened.
What's the dude with the mustache? I mean, he got a little cool mustache. There he is. Jeremy, man, you don't have no questions?
Yep, that's Deuce Staley,
Lions in the podcast,
running backs coach / assistant head coach. After the press conference is over, the guy running the press conference, the Lions PR guy was like, "All right, Deuce, you're good." And then he said, "Wait, no. Where's the dude with the mustache? Do you have a question?" And I'm just like, what? No, I don't have a question. I'm off-season mode. I was caught completely off guard, which was frustrating listening back on. I wish I would have asked him something like, "Hey, you're assistant head coach. What is that going to mean?" No one asked him about that, but yeah. Now everyone's joking that I said I'm in off-season mode, which is a stupid thing to say, admittedly, but yeah, it was a fun moment still. Should we raid John? We should probably drop in on John. I think that makes sense. What's he doing? Fortniting? Probably.
Gonna see. Yeah, John's up. Reno, the wife, is up. Yeah, probably. We did Reno, the wife, last week. You should probably do.
Yeah,
John
let's
here.
go drop in on John. If you don't know John Blevins, he is the brother of Ninja Blevins. Huge. He's a much bigger Lions fan than anyone else in that family. He's great. He's a funny guy, and he plays Fortnite. So go over there, talk some Lions with him, tell him that the Lions are going 17-0, and he will very much appreciate it. So let's go. Oh, I was going to type it in, but I can just use my little fancy raid button. If I can find him. Oh, there he is.
Hold on 1 second for me.
All right, chat. I do appreciate it if you do stick around and raid people. We like to support people that we like. So stick around, say hi to John, tell him that we sent you. And Nick the Creek, thank you for the 6 more bits. A lot of people feel that same way, but yeah, you did it before your crew. Congratulations. And then to our YouTubers, we love you. Thank you so much for allowing our YouTube to just blow up in these past few weeks, past month or two. Really exploded over there.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know some people are like, "Oh, we give too much love to Twitch," but I mean, there's more games to play with Twitch, but you guys are great too. You know.
Yep.
You're the blue collar streamers, stream watchers. You're
Absolutely.
the 9 to 5 stream watchers.
All right. So
it's
Twitch,
a tough guy.
We're gonna say goodbye to Twitch. We'll stick around for just a second for our YouTubers, but Twitch, go say hi to John. We love you. We love John. Bye. Well, what do you got there? Why are you holding up the package? You weirdo.
This is my tracksuit.
Are you gonna do a little song and dance for YouTube?
Absolutely not. I've gained way too much weight during this pandemic. It's starting to show. But as I said on Twitter the other night, I'm embracing the fact that I'm going to turn 35 this year. I'm putting on the tracksuit.
Beautiful.
And dying.
All right, YouTube. Like I said, we do appreciate you. We're going to try to make things more YouTube centric in some way, whether it means YouTube specific streams or other stuff. But
we just need to put more content on YouTube. I should probably get I've got a new camera. I mean, I've got a new phone, which means a new camera, and I would love to. I'm self-conscious about it because I was always told never film in front of white walls, and unfortunately, all I have in my apartment are white walls. But I would like to make some video content, and I would like to see that go to YouTube.
We'll play with it. Plenty of off season to unfurl here. We know
Yep.
you guys get Kelly Rowe, you get Jerry Mallory, but we want to give yourself some more, maybe some other live stream stuff that, since we've been so Twitch exclusive for so long, maybe we get some YouTube exclusive stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
But again, all down the line, you guys are amazing. Look at these crazy sub numbers. We're at 6.
You should all become like VTubers on YouTube with anime avatars.
No, absolutely not. That's not happening. But we'll think about it. And when we do, we'll let you guys know. Appreciate you subbing. Appreciate you following, commenting, all that fun stuff.